7:40 a.m. on this Monday morning, June 1st, 2026. Weather reports state that we are to have a clearing to the skies today to bring about much sunnier skies, warmer temperatures. In fact, this week we'll be hovering in the low to mid 80s for our highs. Headed on out to the woods, take care of the granimals. But we'll show one more thing before we end this recording. Okay, so as I rounded the corner of the building on my way out to the woods, we have this. But what I was wanting, damn cat's getting underfoot. What I wanted to show was actually the factor that we did have some rain colorations that was beginning our sightseeing tour of the skies this morning, but they are not showing up right now. But we did have those sprayed coloration applications that, well, of course, we've already been observing. So if those colors should happen to come on, I'll do my best to record. Otherwise, Skyway's out. Alright, real quick, at 7:50 a.m. this Monday morning, June 1st, 2026, we'll continue on with this real quick. Still not having the appearance of any rings. Unfortunately, we missed those, but they were showing up this morning. Yeah, and we still have just that much more that is happening back here in the skies. So yeah, all the cloudiness that they gave us throughout yesterday afternoon, last night, now they are applying the paint thinners in order to bring about blue skies, or so-called blue skies. Yeah, very unfortunate that I was not able to capture those colorations, but well, and I'll just say there's a lot more going on in these skies than what you might imagine, and it happens every year. It's an annual thing. Typically May and September are the strongest periods of which strangeness prevails. And, well, I got proof of all of this in my playlist, especially any of those playlists that make mention of the month of September. And of course, it's within those videos that you can see these operations from start to finish and the results thereof. Right? Well, if you were to actually check out those playlists, you'd be able to say, right along with me. But nobody likes to go back in time. And nobody really likes to take the time to see how things evolve and unfold. But, oh well. We're done here. Skyway's out. 8:45 a.m. this Monday morning, June 1st, 2026. Just missed small engine aircraft that flew across the western horizon. But apparently the agenda for today, in order to bring about sunny skies, we must first muck up the skies. Because that is apparently what has been transpiring. Even though it did appear as though we had a clearing that was taking place. But once again, apparently, in order to create a narrative of clearing skies, they must first accomplish the cloudy skies, or the narratives thereof. Wow. And once again, unfortunately, I missed a golden opportunity to record one of the lower flying circle jerks, if you will. Why, even the stuff hidden amongst the yuck can be seen. And yeah, direction of our rising sun. And here's I keep pinpointing this right here because this was a past trail. And it was actually quite black in its appearance. But that too is blending in. And this is Skyway's out. 9:40 a.m. on this Monday morning, June 1st, 2026. Well, while we are still waiting for our skies to clear, if you will, and of course we do have the appearance of this greater light up in here. But pertaining to said greater light, the clouds, and the activities in the skies overhead that we observe, I want to take a couple minutes here and go just a little bit deeper into these operations that take place in said skies. Because, well, as we well should know and understand, it's a factor of how all of this interacts with what we consider to be today's weather and weather scenarios and events. And so you actually have to go beyond the thought process of today and think outside of the box to see a much larger picture. Because you have to understand that all of existence operates on one main law, a karmic law. Now we could talk spiritualism here, or the spiritual world, or we could go more along the scientific route with a law that states for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. And that is the number one law to all of existence. Where there is light, there is darkness. Where there is good, there is bad. Right? And then so on and so on. So keeping that in mind, we have to understand that there is no one main reason nor purpose for any one of today's agendas that are taking place. Never has been, never will be. So you have to keep that in mind in connection with this number one law. So once again, we understand how all these activities affect our weather or creates the weather. But there's more to these activities than just that. And of course, many people that focus their attention on the skies and the activities in the skies also believe that there's a lot of stuff being applied to the skies, and of course the fallout scenario of what goes up must come down. And it affects life. So there is the claims being made to that degree. And all of life, possibly. It affects the air, the water, the plant life, the animal life, our lives, and more. So life. Well, today, once again, just like back in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s, it was all about space. Space exploration, going to the moon. Now it's all about going back to the moon and beyond to Mars. So we also have the release of these files of UFOs, UAPs, USOs, so on and so on. So now we tie that in together with space exploration, and we deal with extraterrestrials down here at ground level on this planet or Earth or whatever you want to consider it to be. We are known as terrestrials because we live upon Terra, or the Earth. So now we are talking about terrestrials, extraterrestrials as far as space, but now there's talk as far as these UFOs and UAPs that they could also be interdimensional. And of course now, to explain both extraterrestrials and interdimensionals, we just go ahead and relabel it as NHIs, or non-human intelligence. Well, that also applies to a fourth type of life. So now we have terrestrials, extraterrestrials, interdimensional entities, beings, or what have you. But we also have another type of interdimension being within artificial intelligence. Okay, so we are talking about 4 types of life forms. And yes, even AI. Now then, there's also talk of extraterrestrials or even interdimensional beings that reside here right alongside of us. So are these operations that take place to really cover the skies, is it just weather related, or is it in fact a blanketing to the skies because maybe there is something occurring? Maybe we have opened up gateways to different dimensions, portals, wormholes. So now we've got different means and modes of travel to where it is outer space, and then into other dimensions or realms. And so, well, maybe there's that, we should remember that little narrative that people kind of made us think about, of which Hillary Clinton uttered about the ceiling has a million cracks to it. Okay, so are we to start seeing that much more of yet another dimension or realm through our skies? Remember, we've had these stories of flying crafts and other beings since the dawn of history and the first writings of man, and even before that through cave paintings and the like, hieroglyphics through Egypt. You know, we have to take all this into account and categorize them, itemize them, and understand that much more, because the spraying in the skies is connected to all of that, in my opinion. And hey, there we go. There's one of our. I've been waiting to get you. Now, whether or not I am, I can't even really see my screen right now. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, finally, I was able to get one of these flying over this morning to go right along with, you know, what I stated yesterday, how all this connects together, these observations of these different aircrafts, the rings, the spraying, everything. And once again, you know, is this blanketing due to where we cannot see what is really over our heads or becoming more visible? Because if you examine my content very closely, especially on those colorful ringed days, such as what I think is starting to come on right now, possibly a little bit, you know, even the large birds of prey, okay, large birds of prey that I call my guides. Then it goes to these small engine aircrafts or airplanes, and then it goes to these jet aircrafts that, of course, do their operations. Yep, this is coming on a little bit stronger. Okay, so you need to start connecting all this stuff and then think outside of the box as far as life and life forms. So we got, you know, right here, just like this country and the old motto of it being the melting pot. Well, maybe Earth is somewhat a melting pot as well, figuratively and literally. But I do believe that, once again, many times, on these heavy spray days to where it brings about these ring colorations, and when you look within and about the rings, you will see just that much more that really boggles the mind. It makes you rub your eyes a couple of times just to make sure that you're seeing what you think you're seeing. So anyways, I'm going to have to end it there. That's long enough, especially if I tie it into the preceding recordings from this morning. I'm not going to. We've seen rings plenty of times. I don't want to deal with these guys any further as far as how they are looking currently. maybe I'll record more later. It is yet to be determined, as always. So, on that note, this is Skywise, and this is Skywise signing off. Skywise out.